There is a stretch in every worthwhile effort where it genuinely looks as though nothing is happening. You are doing the work steadily, consistently, and yet the results refuse to show up. No one is watching because there is nothing yet to watch. No one is uploading because there is nothing yet to upload. And from inside that stretch, it is almost impossible to tell the difference between effort that is quietly working and effort that is simply being wasted. This is the part of progress that almost no one talks about honestly. The long, flat, unwatched beginning where you have to keep going on something other than evidence. Understanding what it is actually happening during that stretch and why it is the most important phase of all changes how you treat it. Because something is happening, you just cannot see it yet. We expect progress to be linear. We assume the effort should produce a matching amount of result out, roughly in step, a little work, a little reward, more work, more reward. So when we put in real sustained effort and the results stay flat, our minds reach the obvious and devastating conclusion that this is not working, and we quit, not because we were lazy and not because the approach was wrong, but because the feedback we expected never arrived on the schedule we expected it. This is the single most common way that good efforts die. The trouble is that the thing we expect, a smooth linear return, is not how the most valuable kinds of progress actually behave. They compound, and compounding has a shape that is almost designed to fool you. Long and flat at the start, then steep. The flat part is not a sign that nothing is happening. It is the part where everything is happening just beneath the surface, where you cannot see yet. So here's the shift. Stop reading the absence of visible results as the absence of progress. With anything that compounds, the early returns are real. They are simply too small to see. Each unit of effort is laying a base, and a base by its nature is invisible. It is underneath everything else, holding up a structure that has not been built yet. The mistake is to stand on the flat part of the curve, see no movement, and assume the curve is flat forever. It is not. It is gathering. The very fact that you cannot see everything consistent with two completely different situations. Nothing is working or everything is working and has simply not surfaced. You cannot tell them apart from inside the flat part. Which means the only useful thing to do there is to trust the mechanism rather than the scoreboard and keep laying the base. The first thing to understand is the shape of the curve. Compounding produces almost nothing visible for a long time and then a great deal very quickly. Early on, you are multiplying small things by small things and the result stays small, so small that to the naked eye, it looks like a flat line. This is sometimes called the valley of disappointment, the long stretch, where your effort has been real and your results have not yet caught up. But the line is not actually flat. It is curving gently, almost imperceptibly upward, and the steepness is eventually reaches being determined right now in the part that looks like nothing. The reason the eventual rise seems sudden is that no one ever saw the years of quiet accumulation that made it possible. The breakthrough is not the moment the work started paying off. It is the moment the paying off became large enough to notice. The second thing to understand is that the unwatched phase is not a punishment. It is a gift, though it rarely feels like one. When no one is watching, there is no pressure to perform before you are ready. There is no audience to disappoint, no premature exposure, no need to show a half-built things to people whose attention you have not yet earned. The privacy is exactly what allows the base to be built properly. The work you do before anyone is watching is the most honest work you will ever do, because it is done for no applause and no reaction, only because it is the right next thing. And honest work done without an audience is precisely the kind that compounds, because it is not distorted by the need to look impressive too early. By the time people are watching, the structure is already standing. The privacy was never the obstacle, it was the protection. The third thing to understand is what compounding asks of you, and it is demanding. It asks you to continue through the flat part on the faith in the mechanism rather than faith in the feedback, to keep laying the base when there is no visible base to point to, when no one is watching and nothing seems to be moving. This is the real filter. Almost anyone can work when the results are visible and the applause is arriving. That requires nothing. The rare thing is to keep working when there is no evidence yet that it is working, to trust the curve while standing on its flattest point. The people who compound are simply the people who did not need to see it working in order to keep doing it. They trusted the process over the scoreboard, and the scoreboard eventually caught up. It always does, for the one who are still there when it does. So when you see someone's apparent breakthrough, the business that suddenly took off, the skill that seems to appear overnight, the reputation that arrives all at once, understand what you are actually looking at. You are seeing a long, invisible, compounding curve finally crossing the threshold of visibility. The years before that moment, when no one was watching, were not the waiting room before the progress. They were the progress. The flat part you may be standing on right now is not a sign that you are stuck. It is a sign that you are early, that the base is still being laid, and the curve has not yet turned. You are not waiting for progress to begin. It already has. It is simply still below the line where anyone, including you, can see it. So if you are in the flat part, doing the work, seeing little, watched by no one, do not read the silence as failure. Read it as the phase before the curve turns, which is exactly where it is supposed to feel like this. Keep laying the base. Keep going where no one is watching. The visibility comes later. It is come all at once. It comes to the ones who were still there. If you want a calm, practical place to begin laying your own base, there is a free resource in the description below. Start there. No one sees the work. Everyone sees what it becomes. Keeps going where no one is watching.